They all laughed when she stepped into the room. Her dress clung awkwardly to her figure, her cheeks flushed from the climb up the narrow hill, and her eyes searched for a place to hide. But there was no hiding in a small Canadian town where gossip spread faster than wildfire, and cruelty wore a polite smile. Emma was used to the stares. At 22, she had long made peace with being called fat, slow, and worse. But what she hadn't prepared for was being given away like a broken chair, something no one wanted but everyone was eager to get rid of. Her family, burdened by debts and desperate to save face, made a decision. He's harmless, her uncle said. Just a bit slow, and he has a house. You'll be safe. So just like that, Emma was promised to Martin, the man people called the village idiot. Martin was quiet, odd, and always alone. He lived on the edge of town in an old wooden cottage near the woods. People said he talked to birds, couldn't count to 10, and once tried to sell carrots to a passing bus. Everyone laughed behind his back. Emma had only seen him once before, a tall man with shaggy hair, a big winter coat, and kind but distant eyes. That night, as she sat in the truck beside her uncle heading toward the cottage, she clutched her old backpack, the only thing she truly owned, and silently cried. But nothing that followed was what she expected. Martin didn't say much when she arrived. He just nodded, offered her warm soup, and pointed toward a small, clean room upstairs. The place was cozy, the fire burning gently, and the wooden floors creaked with every step. It didn't feel like a prison. It felt like quiet. And for the first time in years, Emma slept without fear. Days turned to weeks. Martin never demanded anything of her. He fixed things around the house, took long walks in the woods, and sometimes disappeared for hours. Emma began cleaning, cooking, and slowly exploring her surroundings. He brought her wildflowers without saying a word. He left little notes like, "Don't forget to eat," or "You did a good job today," on the kitchen table. He wasn't dumb. He was just different. One evening, Emma found a room upstairs that had been locked. She expected dust and boxes. Instead, she stepped into what looked like a mini library and office. Laptops, blueprints, and binders filled with charts and financial records sat neatly on the desk. And there, on the wall, newspaper clippings and articles with headlines like "Tech Genius Disguised as Recluse" and "Local Investor Quietly Buys Half the Town." There were pictures too, Martin, younger, shaking hands with CEOs, attending university, even giving a speech at a tech conference. Emma's hands trembled as she read through the pages. This man, the one the town mocked, was a millionaire. He owned land, shares, even half the grocery store downtown. But he never flaunted it. He never corrected anyone. Later that night, she sat quietly across from him at dinner. "Why do they call you stupid?" she finally asked. Martin took a long breath and said, "Because I don't waste my time proving I'm not." Emma blinked, a knot forming in her throat. For the first time in her life, someone had said something that felt like it was meant for her too. From that day on, things changed. Emma started painting again, something she hadn't done since high school. Martin built her a small art studio in the back. She began selling her work online. He helped her set up a website, never once mocking her for not knowing how. They talked more, laughed quietly over tea, and grew into something unspoken but real. One day, while walking through town together, an older woman sneered, "So the fat girl and the village fool are a thing now." Emma turned to the woman and smiled gently. "Yes, and we're doing better than most." Martin didn't say a word, but he looked at her with pride. It wasn't long before the town started seeing them differently. Emma's art was featured in a Toronto gallery. Martin's investments quietly saved the local library from closing. Bit by bit, the whispers turned to silence, and silence turned to respect. They never sought revenge. They didn't need to. Love did what no words could. Emma had been thrown away like she didn't matter. Martin had been laughed at like he was less. But together, they built a life not out of what others saw, but what they saw in each other. And the richest man in town wasn't the one who owned the most. It was the one who gave someone like Emma the space to feel seen, loved, and finally, whole.